Hello viewers, welcome to another edition of Politics and Policies, a program who works with some political development in the country and around the world. For more than 3 months, it seems Rivers State have been in a political drama. We've seen several events occurring in Rivers State, from governor to the House of Assembly to the former governor of the state, now Minister of FCT. All of this drama, of course, recently have been put to rest by an attempt by the presidency to, of course, bring a lasting solution to the political crisis in Rivers State. Today, we will be x-raying some of those agreement policies that, of course, was the crux of the matters during the discussion between the governor and the former governor of the state and some members of Rivers State. And, of course, we'll be looking at the presidency interventions in Rivers State politics on today's episode of Politics and Policies. Shortly after this break, we'll be talking with my guest. Don't go away. Stay with us. Welcome back. Joining me on the discussions on the intervention of the presidency to the Rivers State politics is a political analyst and commentator, Aliyu, who is joining me with a big kaftan like the presidency, members of the presidency. Good to have you join me on the show today. Now, I understand that you have critically, been following some political development in Rivers State. For more than 3 months now, the crisis, I won't call it crisis, it has been drama. Because, this has been the show between the executive and the House of Assembly. And all of these, people have been saying that it has an effect on the people and governors. What has been your positions in all of this before we delve into the issue?
Well, as it is, the tension in Rivers State is really high at the moment. And, Rivers State is a sensitive area. This is an area that, impacts a lot in the development of our nation. This is a state that's host to the oil resources which our economy solely depends on. So I feel the government needs to take bold steps in order to cease fire in the Rivers State. And all those things boils down to the act of godfatherism played out by the previous past governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, who also happens to be a minister of the Federal Republic. I can recall vividly, before the May 29 inauguration, there was an induction retreat that was organized for the governors-elect and the outgoing governors, and whereby some elder statesmen and past governors were also invited to, deliver lectures and sensitize the incoming governors on the task ahead of them. And the former Senate President, Bukola Saraki, came out to issue a strong warning to the outgoing governors that the political space is fast changing. You shouldn't, interfere in the affairs of your predecessors, because the act of godfatherism might cost you some huge effects at the long run. Politics is a service. You've come, you've spent 8 years, you've delivered dividends of democracy to the people. Then it's time for you to leave for another person to take over the affairs of governance, and deliver the dividends of democracy. Now, once power is being handed over, it's already gone. You don't have the, political resources to still control a state. You can't be in charge of the FCT and still be in charge of the Rivers State. And as we know, we see the FCT minister seeing the president as a role model, and he feels that he can adopt the strategies,
What is happening in Lagos?
the political strategies, are played by the president in the Southwest, and he feels he can duplicate that in the River States. It can't happen like that in the Southwest, because the people of the Southwest are known not to be cowards. There are always resistance.
South.
Sorry.
Okay, yeah.
There are always a resistance to the act of godfatherism. When you make a review about the political antecedents in the South region, from the time of Peter Odili and Rotimi Amechi, we could see the fracas happening.
Even in the Kwai-Bomb between Councillor Kwabio and then Udom Emmanuel.
Yes. And you see that later on, Rotimi Amechi and Wike, and we saw in Cross River States between Donald Duke and Leo Imoke.
Okay.
And now Leo Imoke with the past government Ben Ayadi. And now the same thing is replicating in Edo States. It happened between Oshomole and Godwin Obaseki. And now the deputy government. So, these people are different in nature. You need to
in the South.
Yeah. You need to study the political atmosphere of that region before you make approaches to things. So, you can't just ape around. The way politics is being played in the Southwest can be outplayed in the South because the South people are resistant.
Yeah, a very fantastic attempt to trying to do justice to, all of these, because I think that's the crux of the matter. It seems Wike is still not aware that he's no more the governor of the state. You quite understand, he has come out to himself recently that he voted form for everyone that contested the election. That no House of Assembly member, no National Assembly members, including the governor. And then people are saying, should that be the case where we constantly have governors, putting successors and going as far as spending the state resources in order to put succession? Because it seems there's what Fubara is not telling us. It seems there's an agreement that they had that we don't know. Can't you see this handwriting already playing? Is it most normal someone resisting power? Don't you think, or perceiving that there was some, iota of agreement prior to this drama that is coming to play?
Well, when you look at Governor Wike, he's been so selfish and he makes himself feel so relevant to the system. And even his party, the PDP, as it is, this is a kind of person that, doesn't keep to his words. He's not a man of his words. He only does things based on
out of his interest,
personal interest. When we look at the presidential elections, if he says that the PDP lost the presidential elections because the G5 governors didn't support the PDP, But when you look at River State, what's the voter turnout in River State? It's not really high
compared to that of the North.
Yeah,
but it's true.
Because when you look at in 2015, the PDP had a landslide victory in River State, and in 2019, same thing happened, but they were unable to win the presidential elections. So now he attached, a lot of relevance to him, and in the party, he isn't relevant enough. Governor Wike. Because looking at the G5 governors, even if the G5 governors had supported PDP at that point, they were unable to deliver their states to the PDP simply because of the obedient tsunami. The people of the Southeast felt it's time for them, to produce a president from the Southeast. And some of the G5 governors, I think two of them also like lost senatorial seats. They had no influence at that point. So I see no,
including two of their governors.
Yeah, I think that that of
Benue State and Enugu State.
Yes, exactly. So now, what's the importance of Governor Wike and this whole thing? So now back to the issues of in River State. How would you purchase form, come out openly, and make such statements that you purchased, forms for all people vying for offices from the House of Assembly to the House of Reps and the Senate, with funds? Which resources did he use? If it's in a civilized society by now, Governor Wike would have been jailed.
That's what we've always been saying over here on this studio. In Nigeria, anybody gets to do anything and then go away with it. We'll go on a short break, and once we return, the presidency had a meeting with the governor and the former governor, who is now the minister of FCT. A part of that meeting was an agreement that was reached in order to restore peace to River State. Shortly after this break, we'll be looking critically to those points and agreement that was reached. Don't go away.
Follow us on our social media handles at Oweleketv. Visit our website at www.oweleket.tv for a thrilling journey. Oweleketv, rising star at the fairground.
All right, welcome back. Of course, we will now be looking with Aliyu, those resolutions that was as a result of the meeting, intervention by the presidency and the governor of River State, including the former governor of River State, who were all part of the meeting, including the PDP chairman and the APC chairman at the Aso Rock. And these are the resolutions. These are some of the resolutions that, came out of that meeting. One, all matters instituted in the court by the governor of River State, Sim Fubara, and his team in respect of the political crisis in River State shall be withdrawn immediately. All impeachment proceedings initiated against the governor of River State by the River State House of Assembly should be dropped immediately. The leadership of the River State House of Assembly, as led by the Right Honorable Martins, shall be recognized alongside the 27 members who resigned from the PDP. The remuneration and benefit of all members of the River State House of Assembly and their staff must be restated immediately, and the governor of River State shall henceforth not interfere with the full funding of the River State House of Assembly. The River State House of Assembly shall choose where they want to sit and conduct their legislative business without the interference of the government. The governor of River State shall represent the state budget for properly constituted River State House of Assembly. The name of all commissioners in the River State Executive who resigned the appointment because of the political crisis in the state should be resubmitted to the House of Assembly for approval. There should not be a caretaker committee for the local government in River State. The dissolution of the local government administration is null and void and shall not be recognized. These are powerful resolutions. The governor have not come out to dismiss this. And people are asking very serious questions. If Governor Wike was the governor of the state, as at when this kind of resolutions would have been made, probably if there was an issue that would have needed a military then and him to go to Aso Rock, would Wike accept this kind of agreement?
Well, honestly speaking, with the attitude of Governor Wike, we all know that he will decline such kind of offer. This is someone that you can't even try to control, but wants to control others. So looking at the documents, Michael, we need to, in our approach to analyze things, we need to see it logically. Looking at that document, my own opinion, looking at that document, first of all, it looks one-sided. It's, favoring one person, which is the former governor of River State.
Yeah.
And another thing again is that document has no letterhead on it to signify the constitution authorities, hosting that
It's been there, and the governor has not come out to say, I'm not aware of that. The presidency have not said it was not emanated from us. So it seems it was just something that people get to write.
Yes, it looks doctored because, like, looking at the meeting, the former governor of Rivers State, Peter Odili, was present. The factional speaker, Martin Amehuele, was
the speaker.
Which seems to be, the weakest,
loyalist,
was present. But the main speaker, who is Fubara's loyalist, Edison Ehihe, wasn't involved in that meeting. So you tend to see that it's one-sided. And looking at those signatories on the documents, when you look closely to that document, you find out that Peter Odili, who seems to be on neutral grounds, had no signature on it. And the president who called for that meeting also had no signature on it. And looking at those signatures, you tend to find out that the handwritings look alike. So it seems that that document must be doctored. And again, no agreement has been reached, because from the subject of that document, it states that directives for resolution, not agreements reached. So practically, no agreement has been reached. So we're waiting for, the presidency and also the governor of Rivers State to come out and make a formal remarks regarding to those, documents that we've seen so far. And looking at that document, it can't be accepted by the people of Rivers State, because if that should outplay, there will be some potentials to, still impeach the governor of Rivers State, because this is unconstitutional. The president has no constitutional powers to dictate to a governor on how to administer the affairs of the states, because there are 27 lawmakers who defected from the PDP to the APC.
And the law says if you defect,
from section 109 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic, So automatically, they've lost those seats, and we're waiting for the INEC to, declare those seats vacant and organize another elections. But the court has already blocked the INEC from conducting another election. So at the long run, this whole thing will be sorted at the courts.
Now, these reactions about that meeting, those resolutions at the Aso Villa, is actually corresponding to a recent comment made by the governor, who said no price too much to pay for peace in Rivers State.
Yes.
Because, as you are aware, it's in the crisis. Everyone has been fighting. He went to the demolition of our assembly and all of that. But, the first statement he has made in the public after that is no price too much to pay for peace in Rivers State. It seems that he is already going to the line of peace. And as you said, if Fubara must agree or must do the line of, this document, what we describe as resolutions that came out of Aso Rock, it has an impact on his government. This is someone that your commissioners resign, and they are telling you to reinstate them to work with you. The House of Assembly left, and the law is very explicit on that issue. For you to reinstate back, pay back their salary, their remunerations, and all of that. You change the speaker, and they're giving you another speaker who wanted to impeach you out of office. But now that he's going to the line of peace, because it seems to say that no price, this statement means that I might accept for peace to reign in Rivers State. Don't you think, based on the background that he came from, based on the fact that someone naturally wouldn't have been the governor of Rivers State if Wike did not back him up, don't you think it's enough for him to toe that line for peace to reign? Because, as you said, when there are crises in Rivers State, Not just the government has people that will suffer. The generality of the people of River State will be, those that will be the victims of all of this fight.
Well, we all know that he came out to say that no price is too much to pay for peace. But we don't know on which context he's talking about. We're still waiting for Fubara to come and clarify us on these issues. And Fubara can't just make decisions by himself, because
his godfather is not with him.
Yeah, but this is an issue that has to do with the people of Delta of River State. He needs to consult the people, supporters, party stakeholders, the elders. I know, because he accepting such offer, based on the resolution, is unconstitutional. Very, very unconstitutional. So I feel he has to do the right thing, and the president doesn't have that constitutional powers to come and dictate on what the governor should do. So this is a constitutional process. Good governance needs to be practiced. You shouldn't go through the back doors to do things. It's not healthy for our democracy.
Good governance must be practiced in a democratic setting. We don't have the right to fully take decisions that will affect our constitution, because you owe it as a point of duty to respect and pay allegiance to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Aliyu is a political analyst and commentator who has been lending his voice to the issues regarding the River State and the interventions by the presidency. But just before we go, what is your advice to Governor Fubara? What is your advice to the people of River State and the presidency before we take this to an end?
Well, first of all, I want the president to, take bold step in order to resolve these issues, and let there be a fair play in these issues. Let there no be sides taken, because this is a threat. This issue is a threat to the nation, is a threat to the security architecture of our country, and also a threat to the economy of our nation. As we could recall, during the time of late President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, when the Ijaw communities felt cheated, they engaged in some militancy activities, and the government and the military were unable to defeat these militants. The president had no option but to come up with an initiative, with an amnesty initiative, and that was how there was a ceasefire within the Niger Delta area. And the Ijaws, are people that have been marginalized for a very long time, in terms of within the political atmosphere of the country, and also when it comes to economical benefits, and whereby the country depends solely on the oil that's been flowed through the pipeline which flows around the Ijaw communities straight to the refineries. One of the militant leaders, Asaridu Kubo, came out to say, and he cried out to the public, that the president's government seems to be the worst ever. Right now, the country is really faced with so many security issues, ranging from the banditry in the northwest and also the terrorism in the northeast. And we can't afford to add militancy to this, security issues, because at the long run, it's going to make the federal government deviate from their, objectives, So I feel the president should, be able to come with a feasible resolution that can make peace in River State.
Yes, the presidency must do the right thing in restoring peace to River State. As, of course, Aliyu, who is a political analyst, has done justice to our discussion today. And that's the much we can take from today's episode on politics and policies. I'm your host, Erika Michael. Do have a good